Hello and good evening. You're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Hafiz Marzukhi. The government will retain the Sedition Act of 1948 for now to maintain public order and national security. However, Deputy Home Minister Datuk Seri Syamsul Anwar Nasara says the Cabinet has agreed in principle for the National Security Council to take the lead on drafting the National Security Bill.
He was responding to a question from Bandar Kuching MP Dr. Kelvin at the Dewan Rakyat about the government's plans to either repeal or amend the Sedition Act, limiting its application to issues concerning royal institutions. Syamsul Anwar explained that the drafting of the bill follows a study by the Home Ministry on whether to amend the Sedition Act to better align with the digital age, or introduce a new law to address issues related to 3R: religion, royal institutions, and race.
The Home Ministry has selected a new application to streamline immigration at the Sultan Iskandar Building and Sultan Abu Bakar Complex in Johor for entry and exit to Singapore. The app, which has undergone successful proof-of-concept trials, has proven effective in reducing congestion and wait times at the border.
Home Minister Saifuddin Nasution said the ministry has finalized one of the 3 vendors trialled: My Trip, My Rentas and My Border Pass. A recommendation was sent to the Finance Ministry last week for approval, with an official announcement expected soon. The app will initially be available to bus and motorcycle travellers, who account for nearly 80% of daily cross-border traffic. It is also aimed at facilitating the movement of people within the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone (JSSEZ) and the upcoming Rapid Transit System Link, which will connect Johor Bahru with Woodlands North in Singapore. The plan is to eventually expand the app's use to all 141 entry points across Malaysia. While the app will enable travellers to complete immigration procedures digitally, they will still need to carry their passports for verification. The ministry is also considering a special pass for Singaporeans with residences in Johor, particularly with the development of JSSEZ.
Khazanah National will continue to invest in startups despite losses from its stake in Fashion Valley. Second Finance Minister Datuk Seri Amir Hamzah Azizan says the core vision behind these investments remain unchanged, highlighting that venture capital in startups is crucial to supporting the ecosystem.
Isu Fashion Valley tidak akan menjejaskan Khazanah untuk melabur dalam syarikat pemula. VC masih kekal dalam mandat Khazanah. Dan Khazanah akan terus usaha untuk menyokong ekosistem syarikat pemula dan modal teroka sambil menambahbaikkan mekanisme kawalan.
He emphasized that these investments are key to creating jobs, boosting the economy, and introducing advanced foreign technologies to Malaysia. Amir Hamzah also stressed that while venture capital carries risks, the focus is on growth with the potential for high returns if successful.
Every country should be free to decide the best policies in the interest of the nation without being influenced by external parties. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim says the needs of the people should be the main focus in shaping national policies, especially in trade and economic affairs.
We must be more open, very neutral. In ASEAN, we call it centrality. We still number one investors still in America, United States of America, but as a great trading partners, of course, with China. So we are working very well in this, I think, and that should be the way forward. We should not be, dictated by anyone. We should be dictated by our own people and what is best for our country.
He also stressed the importance of strengthening ties with the Global South, highlighting the vast untapped potential and emerging opportunities in this region. Anwar was speaking at a roundtable session with industry leaders during his visit to Peru for the APEC Summit 2024.
TikTok assures the government that it will look into the issues of cyberbullying, scams and slander on its platform. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim says TikTok CEO Shou Zi Chew had conveyed the message to him during a quick meeting on the sidelines of the APEC Economic Leaders Week.
Anwar said the meeting also discussed a regulatory framework to license social media and internet messaging services starting from January 1st next year. Additionally, they discussed a collaboration between the government and TikTok in Malaysia, with TikTok saying they would significantly increase their investments in the country. TikTok has also expressed its commitment to supporting Malaysia's efforts as the chair of ASEAN in 2025. Anwar is currently in Peru for the 31st APEC Economic Leaders Meeting from November 14th to 16th.
More than 800 schools across Malaysia are at risk of flooding, including 227 in Sarawak and 208 in Sabah. Education Director General Azman Adnan says other states with high-risk schools include Pahang, Kelantan and Terengganu.
In response, Azman said preparations for the northeast monsoon, which starts this month, are already underway, including the activation of preparation committees at the state, district and national levels. In Terengganu, he said 80 schools are ready to be used as temporary relief centres in the event of flooding. He added that the ministry has also strengthened cooperation with other agencies and mobilised ministry staff to serve as flood volunteers.
We'll go for a short break. Stay with us.
Aku tak ajak hang suruh menipu orang tau. Dan aku tak suruh pun hang pakai nombor palsu tu.
Ni Pak Samad, saya pun tak suruh dia pakai nombor palsu. Tapi kalau jenis yang kili-kili tu, cantik. Betul tak? Cantik tak?
Welcome back. More and more online platforms are slashing content moderation jobs, leaning harder on artificial intelligence to do the work. But can AI fully take over from human moderators? Hafiz Zainul, Deputy Director of Research at Malaysia's Institute of Strategic and International Studies, or ISIS Malaysia, shares his insights.
The AI system is only as good as the training data that is used, which means that the AI moderator may be good for English content or content in Bahasa Malaysia, for example. But the verdict, I think, is still out for content that is in Tamil or in any of the other languages that are lesser spoken with lesser training data, because then the algorithms might not necessarily be as equipped to assess whether the types of content is harmful or not.
He points out that while AI moderators can be more efficient, they are still heavily dependent on the quality of their training data. There is also the question of whether AI can truly pick up on subtext and local nuances, particularly when harmful messages are disguised.
The AI systems are not as well trained as it needs to be to ensure online safety for all of its users. Now, when human moderators are in operation, they are not just removing content, right? Whether content A is harmful or not, then they remove it. They're not just doing that. I have been made to understand that they are also labeling the content that they action on for why it is treated as harmful or why it's not harmful, and that information is then used to further train the AI algorithms.
Now to news about the US presidential transition. President-elect Donald Trump and President Joe Biden had a very cordial, very gracious and substantive meeting in the Oval Office. The political rivals met for the first time since Trump won back the White House last week, and both promised a smooth transfer of power in January. According to White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre, the meeting ended after roughly 2 hours. In the meeting, Biden emphasized that support for Ukraine was in the United States' national security interest because a strong and stable Europe would keep America from being dragged into war. Trump has pledged to end the Russia-Ukraine war quickly without explaining how. The traditional courtesy of welcoming the president-elect into the Oval Office is one that Trump did not extend when Biden won in 2020. Several airlines resumed flights to Indonesia's Bali on Thursday after cancelling trips following volcanic eruptions that spewed a tower of ash high into the sky. Mount Lewotobi Laki-Laki volcano erupted more than a dozen times over the last 2 weeks, killing at least 9 people and forcing thousands to evacuate. The eruptions in East Nusa Tenggara, about 800 kilometers from Bali's popular tourist destinations, forced cancellation of more than 160 flights to and from Bali between November 4th and November 13th. Authorities said a total of 91 flights was halted on Wednesday, the most in one day. On Thursday, Virgin Australia confirmed it had resumed all scheduled flights in and out of Denpasar. Jetstar and Qantas also said they have resumed some of their flights to and from Bali as conditions improved. However, 41 flights were still cancelled on Thursday, including from Singapore, India, Qatar, and several cities in Australia. Sri Lankans are voting in a key general election today, just 2 months after electing a political outsider, Anura Kumara Dissanayake, as president. People queued up at polling booths even before it opened, as armed police were deployed nationwide. 70,000 policemen and 11,000 soldiers were deployed across the island's 13,400 polling stations to ensure voter safety during the election. 17 million voters are going to the polls to elect 225 parliamentarians from a pool of 8,800 candidates. The President's Party, the National People's Power Alliance, had just 3 seats in the outgoing parliament, but is expected to win a simple majority. The election results are expected by tomorrow evening. A man who tried to attack Brazil's Supreme Court in the capital Brasilia yesterday evening is believed to have been killed by his own explosives. He was found dead outside the building shortly after 2 blasts rocked the area. Officials confirmed no one else was injured in the incident. The court was evacuated following the explosions, which occurred just moments apart, one in a nearby parking lot and the second in front of the building, where the man's body was found. The court is located across from the presidential palace, where President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva had just left minutes before the blast. The explosions also raised security concerns ahead of the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro. The explosions also raised security concerns ahead of the G20 summit in Rio de Janeiro, set to begin in 5 days. That wraps up this edition of AWANI Tonight. Do check out our revamped English web portal, delivering in-depth news and analysis to keep you informed on the critical events shaping our world, all in one place at international.astroawani.com. That's all for now. I'm Hafiz Marzukhi. Thanks for watching and good night.